So you know those kind of people that just radiate good vibes and make you think, this person knows something that I don't know. Well, that's Adelmo Junior. So his skating has inspired me for literally 20 years. And after we sat down to do this interview, I can now say that he's also a big inspiration to me as a person as well. So in this interview, we go deep into many different topics, from ice baths to how to overcome fear and to commit to your tricks, to why the skate community is such a special one and why we're so lucky to be a part of this community. But for me, the most valuable takeaway from this whole interview was what there is to learn from him about gratitude and how much of a positive impact it can make on all areas of your life, both on and off your board as well. And since we actually sat down to do this interview, I feel like I've been more grateful and I feel like it's having a positive impact on my life. So hopefully I can keep this up, and I hope that you also get as much from this interview as I did. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks, Adelmo. Let's get it. Adelmo, yes.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, brother.
Where are you at the moment, by the way? You're in Brazil?
I'm in Brazil right now, my hometown, yeah.
Nice. What's your hometown?
It's called Aracaju.
Aracaju. Okay. Whereabouts is
Yeah.
that exactly? Like, I was in Brazil maybe 9 years ago now. I went to like Rio, Sao Paulo,
Nice.
and another place, Minas Gerais, I think. Another place.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm from the northeast, which is like the coastal.
Like Bahia
The
kind of area.
yeah, like very close to Bahia. Very close.
Wow, beautiful
My
area, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. My state is the next state up over
Okay.
Bahia. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I got a friend who's from Bahia. I don't know exactly where, but yeah, he's always like, you should come over and visit. Like, it's so
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
beautiful, man. It's nice. From
Yeah.
here to from here to Salvador, the Bahia capital is like 3 hours drive.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, not far.
Man, I remember like the first time that we met in Copenhagen. I remember
Uh-huh.
like I saw you like riding your bike like down the street, and I was like, "Whoa, fuck, that's Adelmo!" Like, I need to go say hello. I need to go tell him he's a legend. You know, so I've been a fan of you for like so long, watching you skating since like back in the days. And I remember like you were riding your bike down the bike lane, and I was like skating down next to you, like talking to you, telling you like, "Oh yeah, I was really hyped to meet you." Da, 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 da. And I just slammed like straight into a curb, like ate shit on the floor,
I
threw
remember.
my drink like down out in front of me. And I was like, "Oh my god, like that's the worst way to make like a first impression, or the best way
No,
to make a first
it was
impression."
all love, man. I felt a little bit bad too because I was like, oh man.
Well, that was amazing. How many people did you tell about that?
Oh man, like I told, like as soon as I got to the place, I was like, man, like crazy. Brendan tried to say hello, and man, he ate shit.
Oh my god, man, that was great. I'll never forget that moment. That was that your first time in Copenhagen? Oh,
Second time.
second time. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a crazy event, right?
Oh, it is. It's nice, right? It's like for sure, like that skate vibration, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
I love to feel that. I'm happy that we still have that nowadays in a couple of events. You know, that skate vibration that people just feel feel the vibe. If they skater or even like people that don't skate but love that lifestyle and love that vibration that skateboard brings. You know, those type of events, like that's how I grew up going to skate contests and events like that. That's how I remember when I think about a skate contest or like a gathering, you know, a skate gathering like that. It's like the best vibe for sure.
right. Yeah, the community vibe is amazing, no?
Yes,
I haven't
man.
been to
Like
many places that have that same kind of like community connection with so many skaters. Like there were what, probably 2,000, 3,000 skaters there, right?
yes, man.
Maybe.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and you know, nowadays a lot of those events, like they change it. You know, the vibration, the frequency of the events are so different. So you are able to still go to events like this, you know, like the real skate events, you know.
Right. Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, because so many of them now, the ones like Street League or like the Olympics, it's a completely different vibe, right? It's
It is
completely
so
and
different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What's some other ones in your opinion that have that same kind of vibe?
Man, I really like the ones that they do in Barcelona, like the Macba events, and
Yeah, like the King and
like,
Queen of Macba.
yeah, I like that. I like that vibration, like the Tampa vibration, or
Yeah, Tampa holds it down.
like like all those skate events that like bring you like that skateboard lifestyle. That's
Right.
how I remember. Like since the first skate contest I went, like when I was a kid, that's how I felt. I felt welcome at that place. I felt pride to be a skateboarder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I think all those events, like the rebellious mindset of everyone just feeling free and like not caring of whatever happens over there, is all the skate community. Remember, like maybe a few decades ago, like you'd go to a contest like this and maybe like a fight pops up, like you'd
Right.
see the whole skate community together.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
how it's this vibration that makes you feel uh that you are part of a movement and a community.
100%, 100%. Yeah, no, I
So
definitely felt that a lot with Copenhagen. That was my first time there, and people were always telling me, "You have to go, you have to go. It's so amazing." And like when I actually finally did it, I was like, "Wow, this is incredible. I wish life could just be this like every day, you know?
yeah,
There'll
it's
be
it's so nice, it's so beautiful, and to see people. I know it's been growing every year, but to see people from all over the world,
yeah,
just gathering in a skate event and good music and good vibrations and good, like, just like good skate sessions. So
yeah,
nice.
exactly, exactly. And it's so interesting. And I've always felt this with skating actually, the way that at Copenhagen you've got the biggest pros in the game, just like I mean, and you, for example, I just bump into you just like going down the street, and the whole community, it doesn't matter how good you are, if you're a pro or if you're a beginner, like everyone just connects. Whereas if it was like a pro tennis event or a pro football event, it would be like the supporters are here and the pros are there, and there's no connection. But with skating, like everyone just blends, everyone connects. There's no separation. And I think that's
Yes, and I feel that, like, in the skate community, when you are a skateboarder and you go to places like this, doesn't matter, like you said, if you are pro, if you are just like a beginner. Like I remember at this contest, like a few best tricks, there were little kids skating together
yeah,
with the pros. So uh this is the skate vibration. The Doesn't matter if you are like rich or poor, or doesn't matter if you are from this country or from the other country. Doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman. You are welcome. you know
yeah.
so this is a beautiful thing about skateboarding. I grew up playing football as well, so I know you guys love that in England too.
Yes,
and
I also
and I
grew up
think,
playing it.
and this is similar to skateboard, because if you go to a very, I don't know, like rich neighborhood, and some people start like playing football, doesn't matter if the guy who lives on the street is on the corner and he says, "Oh, can I play?" And people, "Yeah, come play."
Right.
And it's all everyone is welcome type of activity. Like I
Yeah.
feel that in football, I feel that in skateboarding as well. Like everyone is welcome.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. We got really lucky with finding skateboarding. That's for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, man. I mean,
That's true.
you've been in skating for such a long time. Like I remember the first time I ever saw clips of you, it was 411 issue 64, like the Brazilian issue, like back in the days. I think that must have been 20 years ago almost. Like how
Yes, this
long?
this this is yeah, I think this is 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like how long have you been
Yeah.
skating already?
Man, I've been skating for like 35 years.
Wow, no way. Two years
Yeah.
more than my age.
Yeah, I've been
That's
skating for
amazing.
35 years. I started skating when I was 9. I'm 44 now, so it's 35 years.
Damn, that's amazing. That's amazing. And what got you
Yeah,
addicted to skating back when you were 9? What was it that kind of got you in there?
man. Like I had people in my neighborhood always playing with those like we'd get like 5 piece of wood, five sticks, and we'd get like the big like super truck bearings, those big bearings.
Hmm.
So we would make like little cars that we would call holy man. It's like
Okay.
just like 5 piece of wood and the bearings on the corners, right? Just like
Right.
wheels. And it was a big thing back in the day in Brazil. People, it was a cheap thing, and people would go and get like 5 piece, of wood anywhere.
So the
And
wood would be like the board, like you would make
yes,
the board.
yes,
No
and
way.
the wood in the front would be kind of in your feet, so you'd give directions to the cart.
Okay.
It was a little cart, so you'd like sit down and have a friend push you like full speed, and there was like, man, like that was so fun back in the day, right? And I remember going to a bigger town at that time. My father had to go to São Paulo for like a procedure, like for a medical procedure. And we passed by, I was 9 years old, right? So we passed by this like big like surf skate shop, and I saw a skateboard. And then I told him, I was like, Dad, oh, those might be the modern little carts. And then he told me, no, I don't think so. I think this is something different. I was like, no, no, it is. And I go inside the shop and I asked the guy how much was it, and I remember it was kind of expensive. And my dad was like, yeah, it's getting close to your birthday, so that would be your gift. And I was like, yeah, dad, thanks so much. So all I could think of is going back home and trying that with my friends, because like, man, the thing was way faster than the ones that we had back home, right? So I was like, man, like I didn't even like stand on it. I remember as soon as I got home, like I was trying to tell my friends, hey man, let's go, let's try this, let's try this. So we all got so hyped because the thing was so fast, right? So we are skating down the street, like, and everyone wanted to try because it was way faster than the other ones. Then one day, maybe like a few days later, like a cousin of mine comes by my house, and he saw everyone playing with the board, right? And he was like, hey guys, come on, man, this is not something that we sit down, this is a skateboard. And he was a surfer, right?
Oh,
So he
okay.
jumped on it. He jumped on it, like he came a little run and jump on it. And man, he started just like, like
Cruising.
back and forth, like, man, like surf style kind of, And I was like, wow, I was shocked. And then I realized that it was not a little cart, that was a skateboard.
That was a big
So
cut.
yeah, so this was the first time that skateboard made me so impressed. And I was
Right.
like, wow. And then since that day, I never wanted to sit on the board anymore.
Do you ever do it when no one's looking? Just like have a little sit down and like roll around back and forth.
Oh man, like it's funny because like after that, that was so that was such a beautiful day of my life, that like I don't even like to sit on a board,
You don't want to
because
like
like,
ruin the memory. Like that beautiful
yeah,
moment
that was
happened, and I want to
special,
leave it
that
there.
was special. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so special, man. Like, yeah, and since that day on, like I wanted to skateboard all the time. So I would ask my cousin. He was a little older, maybe he was like 13, 14 at that time. So I would ask my cousin to take me to places that other people skate. So he started taking me to places like some streets have had little jump ramps. So I started like, seeing people skate and do tricks, all that.
Then you realize like, all right, this isn't just for standing. Now I can do tricks and now I can jump
Yeah,
and like, yeah, man, that's
yeah,
so cool. That's
and
so
it
cool.
was special because I was young. So when you are on that age, I think you are on the edge that you have no fear, right?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just
Totally.
you just try anything. So I would see this guy coming like blaze and do like a 2 meter like method air. So I want to do
Methods are
the
sick,
same, you
man.
know. I want to do the same. I didn't know how to push that strong. I was skinny and small, but like I would ask people to like, oh, could you push me faster, faster? So I started
Really?
doing tricks. Yeah, I started doing tricks on jump ramps, and man, it all started from there. You know.
Ah, that's amazing, man. That's such a nice
Yeah.
way of starting skating. I actually got like started similarly where my parents got me a skateboard when I was really young because I went to a campsite in France and I saw some skateboard there and I was like, wow, it's so cool. I really want to try it. And like we went to a supermarket in France, bought me like a 10 euro skateboard, absolute piece of shit. And I spent like most of my time on that holiday just like sitting there was a hill at the start of the campsite. And I would just be sitting down on the board, just like rolling down the hill, running back up, sitting on it, rolling down, and just like over and over again, like doing the same thing.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. It's something that like I always tell people, you know, nowadays you have YouTube, you have TV, you skate on TVs, you have all those types of, you know, like ways that people can start skating, right? From seeing people. And I like when it's like that because it's so genuine, you know.
Right.
You start skating because you felt the passion for it, you know.
Yeah, totally. Like you had some kind of
It,
like
it,
connection to like the fun and to the
yeah.
enjoyment of just like that little wooden toy.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Beautiful, man. So like has since then has skating like changed much for you? Do you still have that same kind of connection as you had when you were a kid, or what kind of
I,
ways of skating changed for you over the years?
I do, and I always try to keep this way, you know, because skateboarding for me is such a special. It's an amazing way of feel relaxed and feel happy. So I think I have to keep this way my whole life, you know. If
Right,
I go when it start getting serious and have to film for video parts or I have to shoot a photo for an ad or whatever, I always try to remember the why I started skating, why I had that passion for it. So I for sure try to keep this way, and I hope I keep this way my whole life. Nah, I see people, for example, complaining sometimes you don't do a trick or do this or do that, you know, and it's part of our emotional aspect for sure. But like I always try to, you know, to compliment and to give thanks for skateboard brought me all those years.
right.
And I always love to feel the same way I felt that morning when I step on the board for the first time. You know.
Right, right. So when say you're getting stressed, maybe if you have to like film something for a part or like shoot an ad or whatever, do you like actively just remember that one moment, that time when you started, and kind of like try and bring yourself back there and tap into that same vibe?
Yeah, for sure, because it is stressful, you know, because like when it gets to the point that it's work, so for sure you have responsibilities and you start having like, you know, over the years you start thinking in a way that, oh man, I have to do this for that, you know, and reasons change for sure. But it's always good to make sure that you remember that how you started and that was like something that made you so happy for sure, even if you are stressed and man trying for sometimes it's a battle to do a trick or, you know, especially when you're like final day filming for a video and this video you've been filming for like this amount of years or whatever. For sure emotions come out, you know, but it's always good to think and to realize, man, but this is what made me so happy when I was 9 years old. I have to
Yeah,
keep this way. I
yeah,
have to
yeah,
keep this way.
yeah,
Skateboarding is such a unique piece of realization and relaxation. It's good to keep this way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 totally. It always amazes me. Like I've been skating for 22 years, I think. Yeah, 22 years. And it amazes me how like I can still jump onto my skateboard and feel like so happy. Just that one moment where I take that first step onto my board and I just get filled with like so much excitement, so much joy. It always blows my mind that like I can still feel that now, like 22 years later, doing the
Yeah,
exact
it's
same
unbelievable.
thing. It's crazy, right?
It's unbelievable, and it's something that if you leave the culture, if you leave, this community, there are so many things that happen all over the years. Like you said, the first video that you watch, and then the first maybe the first board that you really wanted to buy, that the pro model, or like the first skate shoe, and the first like big pair of pants, and the first sweater, and skating involves so many things,
Yeah, so
and
true.
the music that you start listening all those videos, and you
Yeah,
kind of mold the way that you like music, and mold the
100%.
way that you see life, and so skate involves so many things, so it's very special, very, very special, and it's a big community of different people. So at the same time that you start listening to reggae music, because this guy had that song in the video part, you start listening to hip hop and punk music and indie and all those types of music, hip hop. Man, you feel like, wow, there's a lot of information, and you realize, oh, I really like this, I really like that, I like this way, I love to dress this way, I love to skate this way, and you start realizing that skateboarding is so beautiful because there are so many corners
Yeah,
that that you feel like evolved of that music, but at the same time you like this guy's music, but you like the style of the other one, but you like the shoes that the other one skate, and so it's nice, man.
yeah,
It's such a magical It's a magical community for sure.
yeah, 100%, 100%. That's so true that it just influences so many different areas of your
Yeah,
life. That's crazy.
for sure, man.
Man, so you said you're 44 now and you're still skating a lot, you're still killing it. Like what different things do you do off your board to kind of stay on point and stay fresh?
Man, like I don't know, but like I try to do the same things that I grew up doing. Uh, I'm a big like football addicted. So so I play like 2-3 times a week. I like surfing. Nowadays I don't surf as much as I'd like to. I don't surf every day, but like I try to surf as much as I can. Changing the way I eat like 25 years ago, it helped so many things. Eating only like natural food, just like Ital vegan food, like made me have a better recovery when anything
Right,
happens. So I think that is pretty much it, and having fun. Like, yeah, I see skateboarding as something that brings a lot of joy and fun, So
right.
I think this is all I do, So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if the football helps with the aerobic, I don't know, but it's something that I grew up doing it, and I love to do till this day. So I have friends that I play football for like 35 years. So like, I still play till this day. People that I grew up playing in school, so we still play football together every week, 1, 2, 3 times. So maybe that could help, like maybe maintain the body working, working. And nowadays, for sure, when I go on a skate trip, uh, I always feel like that I'm prepared to like go a whole month. Yeah, I'm prepared. Go 2 weeks, I'm prepared. So just maybe the football helps a lot with that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, you're moving your body in so many different ways, and I guess with skating, you can. we do so many movements that are just the same, like over and over and over and over again, and that can be taxing on the body. But when you kind of chuck in things like football and you move in so many different ways, I think that can definitely have a big impact on how your body
Yeah,
feels.
for sure. I
Yeah.
think that it for sure helps.
Yeah, man. So you changed your diet like 25 years ago. What kind of changes did you make?
I used to eat everything, right? And at that time was like a point that I was reading a lot of like Rastafari and the culture, and I was already like studying like some books and the Bible, and all came to a point that I was like, yeah, man, like I really wanna live my life this way.
Right.
So it was a change right there, and this change made me realize that was good for me as a just like as a person, not even think about like what I do as like loving it, skateboarding and football, not even think about that, just thinking about like a better way of bringing food to your body. That's when like I started realizing after like a few months, oh, I'm not getting like hurt like how I used to get hurt. Now I got hurt, man. The recovery was way faster. So I
Mm.
started realizing the importance of food in your body as well.
Right. Yeah, man. Food can make such a massive impact on
Yes,
everything,
for
right? From
sure.
like energy, recovery, like how vital like you feel in the day, right? It can
Yes,
really
no
influence
doubt, man.
everything. So
No
what
doubt.
kind of changes did you actually make? Eating much more like fresh
Oh,
foods, you said, and
yeah, it was a big change. It was like from eating,
give me
growing
give me
up
like
like.
like before the diet before, what would be like something you'd eat in a day, and then like the next day when you made the
Yeah,
changes.
no, I was eating growing up since I was born, like food from the ocean all the time, like living the coast and eating everything from the ocean and from the mangroves around, like crab, like things like that. So I'm around like seafood a lot here where I grew up, and changing the diet completely to like only vegetables and fruits. People would
What's
tell
about
me, "Oh,
acai,
man,
yeah.
you crazy, man." I was like, no, man, I wanna try to live this way. So has
Yeah.
to be this way. So, man, my body start feeling way better, way better, way better. And then like at one point, like I told people, I was like, yeah, I think I might eat some fish from time to time. But then like I felt so good, felt so, man, like wow, full of like you said, energy, and I was like, yeah, fruits and vegetables only.
Ah,
From now
no
on.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's nice. I mean, it definitely has a huge impact. So you're like completely no fish, no meat,
Yeah, no,
nothing like that. You probably
no.
get this question a lot. Like, what about protein? Where do you get your protein from?
Man, like we are lucky in Brazil, and especially nowadays with this globalization, you can have like all types of nuts everywhere. So the Brazil nuts are like a super nice,
Brazil nuts are
su-
amazing, dude.
yeah, super food. Yeah, you can find like
Are they
all
are they
all this.
called Brazil nuts over there, or are they just called nuts?
No, they call actually here they call castanha is the type of nuts
Ah,
that
castaña.
the
Okay,
the bigger nuts we call castanha. So we
right.
have we have three types of castanha in Brazil. We have the Brazil nuts, which is castanha do Pará, because it comes from the north of Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So we call the nut of that state. So castanha do Pará. We have the cashew nuts that I have a
Cashew,
lot
yeah.
in my state. So here we call castanha de caju. The
Mm,
cashew is a caju in Portuguese. And we have this other castanha that comes from the center of Brazil. So we have three types, and we have a lot of people eat nuts all the time, every day, on the daily basis in Brazil. So that we get protein from that. And man, over the years, start like knowing more and more things like spirulina and this and that, so I always try to keep my diet really using vegetables and making sure that I go over things that make me be good on proteins and all that, because especially from people that were born in a way and ate, let's say, 20 years of meat and this and that, you get your body used to that type of protein. So when you change, you really have to do a little study and realize that you really have to make sure your body grab the same amount or even better protein that you're eating. So some people become vegetarians, but they don't study, they just eat anything. And sometimes, oh
Right.
man, I got sick because this, I have to eat meat again. but
Yeah.
but maybe it's because you didn't really went and did a little research what you really have to eat and all that.
Yeah, man. Like that kind of thing exactly happened to me when I was actually traveling in South America. I did like a year traveling around, like backpacking. This is when I went to Brazil. And at that point in my life, I stopped eating meat, stopped eating fish, like went vegan as well. And I didn't know anything about nutrition at this time. So I was like literally eating zero protein, like just carbohydrate, just like rice and potatoes for like the whole year. And I get back to Europe and I was like, all right, I'm jumping back into skating just as hard as I was. Like when I was traveling, I wasn't skating as much. So I get back and I'm like, all right, I'm going full on straight back in. And I ended up with like so many problems in my body in that because I lost so much muscle and I didn't know about it back then. I didn't know like about where to get protein from and stuff like this. And like now I've studied it more and I understand more. Like it's
Yeah, for
a
sure.
huge difference. And
Yeah, I wish all the schools, like, they talk more about that, because
yeah,
I know so many people, especially nowadays, you see so many people with uh this guy has allergies on nuts or allergies on milk, on this, on that. Schools, they should like really teach how people could eat in different forms.
yeah,
Because
dude,
there is
yeah,
not only one way that you could go and have your body full of proteins and this and that, but like it's something that for a lot of people that become vegetarian or even some other different types of diets, they just like don't get enough and they have to go back to like the way they ate before.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, if they taught nutrition in school, well, it would be an amazing world would probably be a
Yeah,
different place.
that would be amazing for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I like to think about it from the regard when it comes down to nutrition of like eating in a way that's kind of like harmonious with my body. Like if I fill it with like chemicals and if I fill it with all this different shit and like refined sugars and all this stuff, my body has to work so much harder to kind of like keep its equilibrium. Whereas if
For
you're
sure.
eating in a way that's like, empowering your body and giving it what it needs and it's not having to fight to remove all that extra stuff, you're kind of living in harmony with your body, right? Like the food
For
is
sure.
kind of harmonizing with you, and you definitely feel that extra energy as a result from that.
For sure. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, nice, man. So any other stuff you done like off the board, like food? You ever done any training? Any like kind of like strength training and stuff like that?
Yeah, I never done it. I always tell my brethren, like, like, man, I think football does that for me.
Yeah, fair.
Cause like it's pretty serious. Like all those years, man. Like since I was like 9 years old, I was playing on different teams, right? So we would play indoor soccer at first. Then we went to like larger field like soccer, and I was always involved like in tournaments, and like always really playing like hard. And we grew up like have the same type of mindset, playing football all over the place, going to tournaments, and my friends would make a team. So till this day we still like go like and play like some tournaments. So it's funny because like for me, uh it helps a lot with the skateboarding.
Yeah,
some people sometimes say, man, you don't get tired because you go to a game on Wednesday and go film on Thursday. And I tell people, man, it makes me like, my, I don't know, for some reason makes my body awake.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, football
And
can be intense. Like you're sprinting, you're
it for
jumping,
sure, man,
like you're doing a lot of like powerful movements.
for sure. So
Yeah.
like this is the type of like exercise I do. From the past maybe like 5 years, I started doing a lot of like the ice bath,
Okay.
man, and I really like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So every opportunity I have, maybe like two, two, 2 to 4 times a month, maybe sometimes once a week. Go to an ice bath and man recovery.
Right.
I love that.
Nice. How long do you stay in the water?
8 minutes usually.
Oh, damn, 8 minutes, dude. That's intense. Fuck.
Yeah.
I've done some as well, and like the most I've done 5 minutes in like a kind of ice river.
Yeah, I love those. I
Dude,
love those.
that shit's intense though. Like more like mentally, it's intense, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. What was your experience with that, like the mental side of it?
Man, like the first time I went to try. I actually always like growing up. I always like like just like cold showers, right?
Hmm.
I always loved cold showers
I mean,
because
living in
like
Brazil, it's like so hot.
yes,
But
it's so hot, and in my hometown, my until I was 15 was not that common to have like warm showers on people's houses. It was not common at all. So I grew up like having like cold showers my whole life. And when I was 20, 21, I read this book that the guys talk about like cold showers, which is so good for your body. And if you are even on a freezing temperature, it's important for you to have cold showers. Just like the regular temperature you just have the shower like that. So I started reading more and more about that and start doing that. So when I moved to California, I started having like way colder showers than I was doing in Brazil because it gets way colder than here. So I started doing then going on trips to Europe. Sometimes was like 0 degrees or like 2 degrees, and I would still like take cold showers, right? So
yes.
I got used to that, and I always felt amazing doing that.
Yeah.
Going to like a river on a winter and jump on it. I always loved that. But I never realized until a couple years ago that there was pretty much a therapeutic way of heal your body.
Hmm.
It was very therapeutic. So man, I started like reading more and then started like doing the exercises on cold water. And then first couple days for like 3 minutes and 5 and 7, then got to the point of 8 minutes. So nowadays, even if I go to like I went like a few months ago, it was pretty cold in Europe. So I would go every like 3 days. I would go on like on the frozen river. And
Really?
yeah, I'll jump
Where
on it
where
for
was
like
that?
8 minutes in Switzerland.
Oh shit, in Switzerland
Yeah,
there it's fucking cold.
yeah. So I started doing for like 8 minutes, man. And,
Damn.
and I started meeting people that would do for like 20 minutes. I was like, whoa,
No way. Have you heard of a guy called
crazy.
Wim Hof?
What?
Have you heard of a guy called Wim Hof?
Yeah, I saw his videos.
Ah, okay, sick, sick. That's
Yeah,
that's how I learned about the kind of like cold
yes,
water
man,
thing.
for sure. Then like, man, like that makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I go on a trip, man, feel like broke, and then like you go to like ice bath, man, like 8 minutes. You relax, eat good food, man. Like it seems that you just like turn something on your body that you heal up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah, man. I
crazy.
mean, like the mental side of it as well. Like, let's say you're like, you're there, you're getting into that water and you haven't stepped in yet and you're there and you're like, all right, okay, I need to get into this cold water. How is that mentally? Do you just kind of go straight in, or are you there kind of
Yeah,
thinking like, oh, I don't
I
really want
kind
to
of
do
jump
it?
on it. I
Do,
kind of just jump on it.
you've got like no hesitations now. You're just like, boom,
Yeah,
I'm in.
I feel the water, and then I was like, "Whoa, let's go!"
Ah, no way. Okay, so and when you're in the water as well, like, are you kind of wanting to get out? Are you stressing, or are you able to just kind
No,
of keep
when
yourself
I get
focused?
in, I try to meditate, and then
Mm,
like let the body cool off and really, balance, and then like I think I would say longer, but like
yeah,
a couple people that I start reading things and they say, yeah, 8 minutes is perfect.
right, right.
So usually when I got to the point that I was staying 8 minutes, I was like, yeah, that's perfect. So
Fair play, man. I mean, that's incredible. Like I was saying, I got to 5 minutes, and I remember it was in the south of Spain, and I got in the water. It's like, damn, this is really cold, like really, really cold. I hadn't been in like ice cold water for a really long time, so it was a complete shock to my body. I remember I like sit down like up to the neck. And I'm there. First minute, I'm like, wow, this is horrible. This is horrible. Like, I need to get out. I need to get out. Like, my mind's going crazy, going like wild, thinking about all these excuses and reasons why like I should get out and run away. And then it gets to that 1 minute mark, and like something just changed. Like there was
it does.
stillness just happened, and my mind just kind of completely swapped gears, and it was like, wow, no, wait, I can actually handle this. And like my focus came 100% in on what I was doing, and I was able to just kind of stay calm, focus on my breathing, kind of meditative, like you were saying, and yeah, it was a real crazy experience, actually. Real
It
like
is, man.
powerful mentally.
It's such a powerful experience for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. Amazing. That's sick to hear that you did that. I saw clips of photos of Reynolds and like the Baker crew as well, like doing ice baths back in the day. And I know like Walker Ryan does ice baths.
Yeah, it's
Like,
really cool.
okay, so skating, like you've done some pretty big tricks in your time. Like you've done like switchback tail, Wiltshire 12, you've done switchback heel down mag before. Like you've done some pretty big hammers. What have you done to say build the courage to like commit to those tricks? Or so let's say you're rolling up to do switchback heel down Mac before. What's going through your head? Are you able to just like commit to the trick straight away, or have you got to like work on the fear a little bit and do certain things to overcome the fear to then commit to it?
Uh maybe when I start watching skate videos like late 80s and early 90s, something like light up on me that, man, like I really want to do this. Like
Hmm.
I always had that mentality that I wanted to like to film like some tricks. Like and I start, man, like since a young age I start like studying pretty much the videos. Just like, man, I love this guy because he does this trick pretty much as his trick.
Yeah.
And he does in different ways, but you can see nobody does this trick like this guy. So I had like a couple of those skaters that I really loved and grew up skating, and follow the skate career in life, that they were always like making sure that that trick was done on bigger places and like those famous spots. So that was a big inspiration for me growing up. So when I start filming, I was still back home here, like as a young kid, just like having fun with your friends. But maybe at that time I already had that mindset, that, oh, if I'm gonna do a switchback here, I wanna do the best switchback here I can, you know.
Hmm.
And I had that mentality as a young age. So when it start like becoming more serious, for sure that some tricks that I was good at it, I always try to make sure that, man, like if I have this opportunity to go at that spot, I'm gonna try this trick,
Right.
So I think all that came from like a big inspiration of watching videos growing up.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first time I went to California, at that point, uh, I was pro back in Brazil, but I didn't have a filmer on me all the time. We didn't film tricks all the time, so we would go and film maybe every like 2 or 3 months or something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe a little less, but like not a lot, not all the time. So when I got to California first time, man, like for sure, I was like kind of pump it up. I was, wow, man, I want to go that spot and this spot and that spot, and I had a filmer on me all the time.
Yeah.
So that time was special in my life as a mindset of trying tricks and checking spots, and oh, maybe I could do this at that spot, maybe I could do this at that spot. And
Right.
it was good for me because it was never a competition with anybody.
Yeah. Just like
Was
consistent with
always,
yourself, kind of thing.
yeah, it was always like, oh man, like maybe I could do a switchback tail at that spot. And then the opportunity sometimes came to go to this other spot. Ah, oh, nobody ever did the switchback here or that trick there. So for sure, like some tricks were planned before, but some tricks were just like, man, you were there, have the opportunity here now. So that would be cool to try this trick. And sometimes it went good, sometimes didn't go that good, but like was always that mentality. I think the inspiration that came from the videos, growing up.
Right. So like just
For sure.
wanting to kind of push yourself as much as you could and
Yes.
kind of see how far you could essentially go with the different tricks.
Yes, and for example, uh everybody have their favorite skaters, right? So sometimes you watch your favorite skater over the years, and the tricks that your favorite skater is good at it. Like they they best tricks, let's say, like this. Oh, this guy, his best tricks are this and that. And that was a big inspiration as well. Like I grew up like really enjoying so much to watch Guy Mariana, Carl Watson,
Hmm.
Gino, and Mark Gonzalez, and so many guys that like sometimes I had opportunities to be at that spot that this guy did this trick. So for sure, like I was like, wow, maybe I could do this trick. This trick never been done here, and one of my heroes did a trick here. You know,
Right.
so like some of that like it was a big inspiration as well. And it was
Yeah.
funny. It was funny because like almost every time or most of the times that I did a trick, like thinking of that, like, oh, my hero did this trick here, right? And a few days later, sometimes a few months later, this guy would come to me, like my hero would come to me and say, "Oh, you did that trick over there, so nice." And that was a trip. The first couple
Yeah.
times that happened, man, that was a trick because like when guy told me that the first time, I really wanted to tell him, "Oh, I did this trick because of you," but like the words didn't come out. I was like.
100%. Man, that happens to me when I speak to like my idols as well, like skaters that I've looked up to all the time. Like, it's been like speaking
Yes,
to
man.
you, I stacked it and ate shit into a curb.
For sure, brother. For
Yeah.
sure, man. It's a beautiful thing in the skate community.
Yeah.
Like to be able to be part of something that you really fit in and you really feel like, man, so happy about it. And like you said in the beginning of our conversation, like sometimes you go to a place that like this guy that you watch for like 20 years, you see him and you say hi, and the guy just treats you so well. And it's so special, man. Like I love
Hmm.
the skate community, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, man.
really do.
100%. 100%. Man, so going back to the big tricks, then were you ever scared of any of those tricks, like rolling up to them?
Yeah, for sure. A bunch of them, like, and got hurt on some of them too,
How did you
like,
like work on the?
let's say, for example, a lot of people don't know that the first time I went to California, I got on arcade skateboards, right? And the arcade team manager, which was a guy that I grew up watching, and man, loved his video, 8th Street video parts. That was
Mhm,
Jason Rogers, right? So we start filming all the time for the last 3 weeks I was there. So start filming a bunch of things, and he told me, I was like, man, like, do you know the Carlsbad Gap?
mhm.
And I told him, I was like, yeah, man, for sure, and like I gave him a list of tricks that people done at that spot, and he was
Really,
like,
you had a list of tricks?
yeah, no, on my mind, yeah,
Ah,
like
okay, okay,
just
okay,
like
yeah, yeah,
I was like, yeah, Jeremy Ray did this, and this guy did that, and this, and
yeah.
this, and this. And he was like, yeah, nobody ever nollie healed the Carlsbad Gap. And then I was like, wow, it's a big one for a nollie hill, because I didn't even remember nollie tricks on Carlsbad Gap at that time.
Right.
And I said, man, I don't even remember straight nollie on it. He's like, yeah, not many nollie tricks, but you should do nollie hill. And I told him, yeah, we could do that like maybe the last day of the trip. As I knew the gap was big, and if nobody ever done a nollie trick there, man, like I don't know,
There's a reason
it
for
might be
it.
sketchy. So I went down there, man, like, and he told me, man, if you do this trick, it'll be your first ad. And I was like, wow, I'm so hyped, so hyped. And man, I tried this nollie hill like for maybe like hour and a half or something.
Ooh,
Land a
jumping about
couple
an hour and a
times
half.
on it. I have a sequence that I do the nollie hill, catch, roll up, but the ground over there is kind of like uphill, kind of when you land it. So I roll up, man, and my body just goes like in front of the board.
No.
And he was like, man, that's usable. That's usable. You did it. I was like, no, 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 man. I want to land like a real one.
That's respectable of you to not be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go home.
Yeah. And then, man, I tried a couple more times and got broke. I remember going back on the plane back home to Brazil. I was broke, like destroyed. And I never wanted to go back because, man, like that was such a crazy battle that day. And next time I came back to Cali, he said, "How about the Nolly Hill on Carlsbad?" I was like, "No, man. Like, I don't even want to go back to that spot anymore."
I don't want to see it anymore. Don't take
No,
me.
we're gonna find a nice place for a good Nolly Hill, and we did actually was my last trick on the arcade video was a Nolly Hill on a big gap they call the Audio Gap,
Right,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was very close to the other one too. It was like same city and all that. But like maybe if I have landed that nollie here on Carlsbad Gap was like a very like big trick. But man, it was such a battle, and that's how skateboarding is. Like I didn't want to go back to that spot after that.
And like, how did you get yourself to commit when you were like, you were obviously scared of the trick. Like, how did you put your feet on the board the first time? What was it that you did to get that to happen?
Man, for me on bigger tricks or like even like rails or like like sometimes like a super tech trick, like I think it's the most important thing is the commitment, right? Cause like you can do the trick, that, but sometimes let's say give an example nowadays, James Foy goes to a rail, he knows he can fake pivot the rail. He maybe could fake
Hmm.
pivot like El Toro.
Right.
The way he does fake pivots is like amazing, right? But like it gets to a point that you look at a rail or like a big hubba, and that's like the mental battle you have, oh man, I could do this, but I don't know this and that, and and this, I think it's part of it, it's
How?
part of it. And when you really commit, and I think you say, no, I'm gonna do it. So I think this is the main part of it,
Right.
is the commitment. And for sure, it happened with me, tricks that I said, man, I don't know, this is, oh, I don't know, but I'm gonna try. I want to do
Yeah.
this, and you
Right.
you end up doing it.
Right. So when
So
you've
I
got that
think
mental battle, like, how do you get to the point where you're able to commit? What are you working through mentally to make that happen?
feeling comfortable with your mind and your ways, and making sure that you feel comfortable and say, no, I'm feeling good about this. It happened before too that I didn't feel that good and
Hmm.
tried the trick and got like destroyed. So that's something that I learned over the years, man. Like, if you think about something and you feel good, you feel that commitment is there, go for it. But if
Yeah.
you don't feel that, man, don't try to force it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, man, I've had the exact same kind of experience. If there's a trick that I'm not 100% sure about and I do it anyway, those are the moments when I get hurt.
Yeah. And especially things that I done over the years too, that I stopped doing it. Let's
Right.
say I go to a spot, only a filmer, right? So film the trick, and photographer, oh man, sorry, I could not go this day. Could we try to shoot this other day? I've done those things before, and I filmed the trick one day, shot the photo a few days later. Sometimes a sequence, so you really have to learn the trick twice. But it's something that I went to do the trick for the second time and got hurt as well.
Shit.
So nowadays, like, if it was only filming, all good. If it was only photo, all good. But like, not going back.
You're like, I'm taking it and getting out safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having like the trick feeling like really comfortable for you then is like a really important piece. Like knowing that you can do it, like knowing that you've practiced the trick enough to be able to like definitely do it at the spot.
Yes,
That's
for
like
sure.
the key piece.
For
And
sure.
anything else that you've done like on the day that you've noticed has helped you feel good and feel like okay, or increase the chances that you're gonna feel good to be able to commit to it.
Yeah, I think, like, for example, I remember like some tricks that I really plan on doing. Like, I
Hmm.
plan, let's say, months
Oh,
about that
really?
trick, right? So let's say, man, like, I'm filming this video part. So this trick, I've been thinking about this trick for, let's say, 2 3 months, right? So that week of I really the week that I really want to do that trick, so I make sure that I have always good sleep,
Mm,
eat really good, that the body is like 100%. So most of the times that work is super good. Make sure
right,
that you get to the trick, get to try the trick on a day that you feel so good.
right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And
Yeah, that's really, really useful info right there.
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Because, for example, I had ways too on skate trips. Let's say I'm staying in Europe for like 30 days, right? So on the last week of the trip, we get to Paris. Let's say, oh, that was that spot that I really want to try a trick, but it was end of a trip, right? So we've been skating for like 27 days, like every day. Your body's
27
tired,
days.
and then you
Yeah,
go to that spot that you really wanted to try that trick for like months or maybe years, but your body is not feeling well you know so for sure I had those examples too. Like, I'm on a skate trip, I see this spot, but like, no, it's today is not the day.
right. I mean, I think that's a really useful skill to develop and one that you develop over time through skating for so long is that ability to be like, okay, today I'm not feeling good. I'm going to leave this trick. Like when you're younger, you kind of don't have that connection with your body and
Yeah,
you just
for
like, you
sure.
just go, 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 regardless of
For
how you
sure.
feel, you just throw down and yeah, that's
and
when
th- and this is and this is how like so many younger kids get hurt so much, because like
exactly.
they have like no sense of like, no, I need like to be really focus, and my body need to be like at the right place, to try this trick. They just go, 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 go.
Yeah, 100%. So have you ever had any kind of methods for learning tricks and getting consistent with tricks?
Man, I always felt like skateboarding is a natural thing, right? So for sure that sometimes you are skating flat ground and you see and say, oh man, this trick comes to me like easy, right? So have good pop on that trick. You have like, but you say, man, like I could develop even more, And there are tricks that it's not easy for you at all, and you have to like try to battle even to learn sometimes a trick.
Hmm.
So I think you have to insist, on tricks sometimes. Really insist, and until that trick is natural for you, that's when you like, oh, now really this trick is it became like natural for me, so it becomes
Right.
easier.
So just like really putting in the work, putting in the time, and
Yeah.
just like going every day and battling that trick.
Yes. For example, I remember
Yeah.
growing up, like all my friends, all my neighborhood, some guys were way better on kickflip tricks. Some guys were way better on heel flip tricks. Some guys were way better on switch tricks than even regular, the
Hmm.
same trick on the regular. So it's all putting into work, not leaving your mind say, oh, I like this more than that. Because skateboarding is a whole universe. So you
Right.
have to love everything. So some people they limit themselves. They say, "Oh, I don't like kick flips. I don't like heel flips. I don't like this." So you already limit yourself.
So true. I've been thinking recently about how like when you're younger, you you really battle tricks. Like you really put in the time over and over and over again to like learn specific tricks because you can't really do many. So you're forced to just put your energy into just like a few and you just go and go and go and go. And then I've noticed a lot of skaters as they get older, like myself included for a long time and with certain tricks that I get to the point where I just say like, oh, I can't do that trick, or I'm not good at this trick, or I'm not good at that trick. Like front
For
feebles,
sure,
for example, like 15 years I've been able to do like really shitty front feebles. But then I realized like the other month, I was like, I've never actually put in the time to really work on that trick.
for
So I
sure,
changed it and I started doing it. And now every session I've been there like 30 minutes in the session, every time, like really putting in the time to like work on the trick. And I was like, what? Now I can pretty much do them. I can hold them on like the whole rail and like they feel good and they're
yeah,
starting to
no
feel
doubt,
natural. But you kind of get
no
stuck
doubt.
thinking that, yeah, you just can't do the trick. But really, it's that you haven't put in the time, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of skaters do that. They
Yeah.
limit themselves and say, "Oh, I'm not good at this trick. No, I cannot skate mid ramps, or I cannot skate a vert ramp, or I cannot skate a bowl, or I cannot street skate or whatever." They all a lot of people like limit themselves.
Yeah.
And it's a whole universe. Like you can really put in work if you wanna skate vert or bowls or like mini ramps or street skating. Just put in the work for sure. It's gonna come to you.
Yeah.
For
100%.
sure.
100%. Man,
Yeah.
I was listening to a Nine Club episode like pretty recently, and the bit where you were talking about like going to prison and like having the dreads cut off, like wow, that was a crazy story, first off. But one thing that was like really interesting to me was the way that you looked at the situation. So I think you said 11 years you'd spent growing your dreads, and then they were
Yeah.
just like cut off one day to the next. You were saying how basically this wasn't that much of a difficult experience for you, and that you were able to kind of meditate on the situation and accept the process, accept the what was happening, and as well regarding like being in the prison itself, you were able to kind of leave and say for all these things that you were grateful for, like you were grateful for it not being as gnarly as it could have been, and all this kind of stuff, and you had like just this real positive beautiful mindset around these things, and it seems like that's kind of how you live your life, to kind of try and be really accepting, try and be really grateful for things that come your way. Like has that been something that you've always done? Would you agree with that first, and like would you say that that's something that you've always had and been able to do?
No, for sure, for sure. I think I grew up like seeing my father and mother going through so much, like seeing from what they come from, where they come from, like countryside, Brazil, like places that people are just so happy with so little, So man, that made me for sure, since I'm a super young kid, like that made me realize that life is way more about like giving thanks for what you have, and that's for sure how I live my life. There will be hard situations in life, no doubt about it. You're gonna go through like some crazy stuff that you don't even imagine going through,
Mm.
but that's the way I feel it, There was a crazy one for sure, and it was others too, in the process of life for sure, but like it's all about like equalization and making sure that you give thanks for the opportunity of life you given, so even if you have to go through something like bad and a crazy experience, for sure, like I try to take the positive side for sure,
Right. That's beautiful, man. Because it's hard to do a lot of the times,
for
and I
sure.
find, like for me at least, the more that I live in Barcelona, like right in the center of the city, and I find like living in the city, it's even harder to do. Like when I go to nature and like I camp or I'm there in nature, I find it quite easy, and I can be more in the moment and be more grateful and like loving and stuff. But in the city, I kind of get like really distracted and busy and kind of stressed and kind of I lose that connection a little bit, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure.
Is there anything specific that you would do on like a regular basis to kind of keep that mindset?
Man, I think really that it came from like my father and mother, seeing the way they live, that made me like maybe very strong on that mindset of, like I tell my kids nowadays, I was like, see, there will be like hard times, and sometimes I make sure that like I take them to places that they never been. I tell them they were lucky enough to don't go through like some crazy experience that other people have to go through,
Hmm.
but like make sure that you give thanks for the situations even that you didn't go through yet, because
Right.
some hard times will come in life, everyone go through like hard times sometimes, and you have to realize that, see what your grandfather went through and your grandmother and your father and your mother, and not as just like, oh, see, you have to do what I did, or like feel the same way I did. When no, everyone is different, everyone go through the process on a different way, but like I always try to make sure they realize that gratitude is something very special in life, you know and
Right.
doesn't matter how hard situation is, try to find something to be grateful for,
So like just making that extra effort to kind of redirect your
yes.
attention to that thing to be grateful for.
Yes, and it's funny. First time I went to Ethiopia, I felt the same way of the countryside of Brazil. People are so happy for what they have, for everything that's happening around them, like simple things, So all those simple things and experiences, and making sure that you are very thankful for what you went through, good or bad, it's something very special in my life for sure. Really give thanks for like all experience, good or bad,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, because I mean, even those negative experiences, they can seem really bad in the moment, but they often give us so much to learn from as well, right? Like they teach us
For
so much,
sure,
and
for sure,
yeah, yeah, it's like a
yeah,
negative wrapped up in positive in a weird way, right?
for sure, brother, for sure.
Well, I guess we're getting pretty close to the end. Well, we touched on a lot of different topics. We touched on a lot of different ways to get better at skating as well. And what would you, if you were going to give some, like, I don't know, your top 3 tips to say progress skateboarding, to like get better skateboarding, what would they be?
I think just like first thing, just like remember to have fun with your skateboard. Always have fun, because like if you have fun, naturally everything you do it'll be like nice. It'll be always fun. Second is, if you love that and if you wanna do something, make sure you're gonna be like filming a good video part or being a pro, whatever, or even not like on the mindset of being a pro, but like, oh, I want to film this like pretty serious. Yeah, it's good to really put time and work on it. Really put time, make sure that the tricks you do could be like done on the best way possible. And this is very important too, if you want to go the route of like, filming this, or make sure that if you are able to film that trick on the best spot possible, especially spots that, oh, nobody ever done this here, and this is special, when you are filming. Nowadays, I see so many creative skaters. They find like a little alley with a curve, but they are so creative, and they say, yeah, nobody skated this way here or even anywhere. So this is the magic about skateboarding. Is be creative, is making sure that you put work on it, and this is very special. And the third like tip I could maybe do is like, make sure that, yeah, give hours to skateboard, because skate is not easy. So for sure, the more you put on work, the more for sure you're gonna get like better for sure.
So true. You got to battle those tricks.
Yeah, for sure.
We both know that very well.
No
But what
doubt.
about what about like say 3 things that you would say to work on that, like physical and mental and even spiritual realm?
Skateboarding is like a mind battle as well. It's a psychological battle all the time. So you have to be good with yourself. Even sometimes that you got are going through something that is like difficult in your life, like we talked before, skateboard makes you happy. But for sure, like if you are like with your good mindset and body is good and everything is good, it'll be skateboarding, it'll be a little easier, you know for you. So that's one point. And 2 other points, I think for sure exercise is good, but try to find the exercise that makes you happy as well, because
Mm,
skateboarding it's an activity that makes you so happy. So let's say if the guy doesn't like a gym and he goes to the gym just to make sure that he's gonna skate better, it's not gonna be that fun. But if you love going to the gym and go skateboard, you're gonna be happy. So things like that. And other than that, like, make sure that if you have friends to skate with, it's better than skate by yourself. But for sure, when you skate with friends, I think everything flows better.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. You get like the energy from the crew. They hype you up to do the tricks, and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely more fun. You like work on tricks together. Now, what about any projects you're working on now? Like you've got plural skateboards, right? Like that's your own
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be filming for Plural. We have a
Nice,
project for high clothing coming September, I think. So yeah, on that trip that we met, I was with the high crew. So we went from there to Barcelona, stay a whole month of filming, and we've been doing a couple trips. So working on those two main projects right now.
nice. You gotta have a little part in the video as well.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Nice, man.
Thanks, brother.
Amazing, dude. Well, Adelmo, this has been amazing. I've learned so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Like, been really good sitting down chatting with you.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you so much, and thanks for the invite, and thanks for the good vibes. And it's always a pleasure to talk about skateboarding. Thank you.